Hello everyone, I'm Sukanya Rana. I head the mains initiative at Civilsdaily and I welcome you all to Streak Daily Initiative, your daily dose of UPSC preparation. So today is day 6 and the schedule that was given for day 6 includes Panchayati Raj and municipalities. A very important topic, a development which you have to know about, the 73rd and the 74th Amendment to the Indian Constitution. So I hope you've done the revisions. I hope you've attempted both the mains and the prelims questions, which were given to you at 5 o'clock. So in this particular video, let's look at the mains answers. Let us look at what should be the elements of introduction, body, and conclusion. You can cross check with whatever answers you've written, include some of the points that are missing, and also if you think that some of the points I have not mentioned, you can add it in the comment section. So let us look at the first question of the day. Would you say that implementation of Panchayati Raj system has led to a real restructuring of the Indian polity? Now, this question is basically oriented towards checking the performance of Panchayati Raj system at the ground level. Like, has it been able to restructure the Indian polity? So, we all know Indian polity is basically federal system. And initially what we started with the idea of federal system, we had the center and the state. So, idea of 73rd and both 74th amendment was to bring a third tier of federal structure, which would work at the ground level. So, and there were certain set of expectations also attached to the idea of third structure. So that is what we have to evaluate in this particular question. Was it something that it just created one particular branch or one particular level, or it brought some substantial change? So all these ideas again should be covered in your answer. What should be your introduction? Start with the basic theme. Talk about what is Panchayati Raj system. You can talk about the 73rd Amendment. If you want, you can include the constitutional element also. And if you want, you can give me a brief history of development of the idea of Panchayati Raj institutions. So you can talk about how in the constitution it has been laid importance. Then there were a couple of committees that we talked about, like Balwant Rai committee. You can include that. But again, your introduction has to be brief. So keep that in mind. And then what we are going to do is we're going to move to your body. So body is going to talk about two ideas: how it has contributed in real terms towards Indian policy, Indian political system. So here we're going to talk about all the positive aspects. We're going to talk about, again, from different angles. You're going to talk about the system of reservations, which has allowed a lot of different subsections, especially the vulnerable section, to get into the Indian polity. How it has created a ground level working of the Indian polity system, where people can engage with the government. So a lot of contribution. The women portion of reservation, where women are part of the political system, that has helped to increase in this particular idea. So tackle all the positive portion of this particular issue, how PRI has able to bring about some substantial change. You can also include some examples. You can also include some case studies where you talk about some of the positive development that some PRIs have done. Maybe with respect to recent handling of COVID situation, those kind of examples also you can include in this particular section, right? So after you've done with talking about what real contribution PRI has provided to the Indian polity, bring about some ground level issues also with respect to PRI. So this section was not directly asked, but this is important. Get in this element, talk about how there has been issues with respect to allocation of funds, like finance is a major issue, right? Training of the personnel. First, personnel are limited, like there's a lot of vacant seats. Then secondly, whoever there are, they're not properly trained. So skills is another issue with respect to people. Then you can talk about how people have not been given the right kind of awareness to get involved with PRIs. So that has created a lot of issues with respect to women reservation. You can talk about how it is actually dictated and overlooked, and in fact the male member of the family is the real person who's dealing with those seats. So on a ground level, you can bring in a lot of issues with working of PRIs. And then obviously we're going to write our way forward in our conclusion, and our way forward is going to talk about some of the reforms that are required with respect to PRIs. So the best report to quote here is second ARC, because second ARC actually talks about, there's a dedicated report to local administration which talks about the principle of subsidiarity. So bring in that element. I think that will show some expert viewpoint on this topic. And also even Niti Aayog report, the 3-year agenda, also talks about some of the reforms that can be brought about in PRIs. Like we can have competitive federalism at the level of PRIs also. So that kind of element with the PRI index, especially there's this devolution of power index that can be substantially important here to measure the working of PRIs. Then we can have case analysis, like if there's a successful model with respect to one PRIs, that should be replicated in other PRIs also. So that kind of competitive and cooperative federalism now needs to shift from the idea of state to your PRIs than just center in the state. So those elements are something that you can talk about in your way forward, and I think this will conclude your answer nicely. And in fact, this was a very direct question, so I don't think there should be a problem with respect to structuring. So let us look at the second question of the day. So second question of the day is talking about your district planning committees and metropolitan committees, and what is the importance of these particular committees. So, the planning committee and they play a major role, because we've seen the downfall of planning commission, and today we have an era of Niti Aayog. So the basic idea here is, what do these local body of planning committees play a role in the era of Niti Aayog? We have to still empower them. We have to make sure that they don't get disassociated with the idea of planning in case of the Niti Aayog era. Right. So the question directly here is, although the district planning committee and metropolitan planning committee have been provided, those remain mostly on paper. Comment. So this particular question is talking about two ideas. Number one, it's talking about how these two particular bodies has been provided. So this is this portion you have to talk about the basic introduction of this particular body in the constitution. So you can talk about the rationale behind them, you can talk about the powers and the roles that these particular body play. So this is one portion. Second portion, you have to talk about how they mostly remain on paper. So this is like a critical analysis of these particular bodies and the roles they've been playing. Like the ground level reality you have to talk about here. Now see, the key word here in this particular question is comment. So comment usually means that you have to provide some alternative viewpoint also, other than that is provided in the question or in the statement. So since we provided the critical analysis, the counter argument here would be, you're going to talk about some of the significant work or significance of these two particular bodies. You can quote some examples, you can bring in some ideas which will justify this particular position as well. So in detail, let us look at what all is to come in your introduction, body and conclusion. So your introduction obviously is going to start with the definition of BPCs and MPCs. You're going to write the constitutional provisions that is relevant to these particular topics, and what you're going to do here is you're going to draw a small diagram where you're going to talk about the roles of these particular bodies that they play in the Indian planning committee or the Indian planning scenario, right? So roles of these particular body, what is their origin, and the idea how they have been set up. The first thing that I was talking about is going to be part of your introduction. So cover that portion in your introduction. When we talk about your body, we're going to talk about 2 points here, the critical aspect and the positive aspect. So why do these body just exist on paper is going to be your first portion that you're going to talk about. You can talk about a lot of different aspects, like how they've not been set up in a lot of states. their non-functional, financial issue, training issue. So you can bring in a lot of topics here, right? So cover a lot of different dimensions in this part. Then what you're going to do is you're going to talk about how these, working and setting up of these bodies are very much relevant. So you're going to talk about the significance of these bodies. And again, quote some example, get me some ideas. Like there's this Niti Aayog report where it talks about this evidence-based planning. This has been done by Bihar Public District Planning Committee. So that was a case study that they had picked, and it was like a role model practice. So you can quote such examples in your answer, and I think that will give that extra edge. Finally, how do you conclude your answer is how do we improve the working of these particular bodies? So DPCs and MPCs, how we can improve their working, how we can make sure that they don't lose their relevance in the Niti Aayog era. That is going to be your conclusion. Again, you can bring in second ARC report here. That is another important report with respect to these planning committees, and some of the Niti Aayog recommendations can also be included. So these were two questions of the day where we talked about the local bodies, and I hope this whole week you were able to understand how to write topics from the mains perspective and able to improve your answer writing skills. And if you want to further, go ahead and check out our other programs that are very much relevant to mains answer writing. You can go into the description box and check our programs. We've got Mains Essential Program 2022, which deals with all the aspirants who have to write answers on an year basis. So this is a very long-term program where you're going to write answers for say 7-8 months. So if you're planning to write mains in the next year, then this is the program for you. The second program is Mains Essential Program Super 50, where anybody who's not even written one mains can come and be part of this initiative, and it includes personalized one-to-one interaction with the mentor, and I'm the mentor who's heading that particular program. And finally, we have a smash programs which actually deals with all the veteran players who have attempted mains once or twice. So in this particular program, we actually work with enhanced level of skills that they need to deal with. So and this particular program is actually copy evaluation basis. Like you just cannot be enrolled directly. First, you have to go through a selection process here, and then only you are part of this particular program. So go ahead, check out any program that suits your need. And if you have any further doubt, you can contact us. You can drop a message on our website. You can contact us through our mobile number, and anything else you have, just let us know. Or you can comment in the comment section below and we'll reach out to you. Thank you so much for your patience and for your watching these particular videos, and we'll be back the next week. Till then, take care and keep studying. Bye.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.